how to find deals in the current climate and the 6 best strategies right now. I've actually called the talk the 6 best strategies. I was thinking earlier, should I say 6 of the best, call the talk 6 of the best, but these are 6 strategies that I know and we operate in our business right now. So nothing that I'm going to be telling you tonight is something that I've made up. It's actually something that I actually do. A lot of property educators, we find, talk the talk, but I do feel that myself and Wendy, we walk the walk. So I know some of you will know who I am, but just as an introduction to myself, I've got a family property business in Leigh-on-Sea. I'm an ex-firefighter and I moved from Scotland and I flew down here to realise my boyhood dream and realised that I would have to work, late into my 60s to kind of realise my pension. And I thought I had to kind of take control. So I got into property around about 8 years ago, although I've been a landlord for longer than that. And my favourite strategy is HMOs. That is the strategy for cash flow for myself and my family and for future generations and legacy and pension and all of that. But I've also got buy-to-let business and I work with my dad and my sister. So without further ado, let's get into the presentation, and at the end we'll probably go through it for about an hour. I know you're going to have questions. Don't worry, I've kept some time back at the end and we can do some Q&A. So just write your questions down that you've got, and then at the end we can have some Q&A and I can really answer everything in a bit more detail. So to get everything over to you tonight, if I can just crack through the presentation, and then you will hopefully get massive value from it, okay? So before we start, I just wanted to make you 3 promises. So as I said earlier, everything that I'm showing you, we are doing it right now and we've been doing it for a number of years. So I know that it works. My other second promise is if you stay consistent, and you've got to be consistent in anything that you do, then you'll get results. And the third promise that I'm going to make to you, there's going to be an opportunity to work with myself and Wendy at the end of our talk. All right. So let's just think about this for a second. What deals are you going to find now? Although I've said that I'm going to ask you at the end for some Q&A, I want a little bit of interaction tonight. So that I can get to understand you better. So a lot of times when I talk to other investors about marketing, people say to me, Ian, what deals am I going to find? Now, the truth of the matter is that it's going to be anything. And these can be ranging from rent to rents. If you're new to property, I have hyphenated a few of them. So there's BMV there, which stands for below market value. So for the more experienced investors, of course, we'll understand what rent to rent and below market value means. But we will find deals in residential. We will find commercial deals. We will find land deals. You'll actually be surprised when you start this little nucleus of marketing, when you start a continuous cycle and you keep that consistency. You'll be surprised at the deals that come in. Now, although you might be looking specifically for, I like to look for HMOs, but if something else comes in that doesn't fit with my strategy, I'll open my property toolbox and we will then decide, is this something that we want to sell on? Is this someone that we want to pass to another business or give to someone else? Is this something that you can just create a win-win out of? Or indeed, is this something that you can monetize? So when you start the marketing, you're not just going to turn on a tap and get HMO deals or leads. You're going to get a mix of everything, and you just need to whittle through to find out what ones you want to keep and what ones you want to sell on. So if everyone could perhaps put in the chat panel, has anyone done any types of sourcing that's on the call tonight. So if you could put in the chat panel, what has been your best source of finding properties? So before we carry on, just to find out what everyone's preferred auction is. So just type into the chat panel now, where do you currently find your deals from? So we've got a chat here. I can actually see a chat panel, Wendy, so we're cool, which is good. So James is saying he's getting them from sourcers. Sarah's saying, hi Sarah, nice to see you. Online and estate agents. Yeah, any others? Michael's saying he's only ever used Rightmove and Zoopla at the moment. Sourcers, Dominic. Any more? Julian's saying, hi Julian, agents and direct to vendor letters. So these are all great little strategies that work very well and ones that I've employed over the years, and I've made not only some fantastic deals, but I've made some kind of fantastic connections through it as well. So, you know, think about your kind of network, and your network, as they say, is your net worth. So thanks for putting in some of the comments. That gives me a flavour of what everyone's been doing, which is good. Some of the traditional methods work the best, and you'll actually be surprised at the simplicity of the deals that, you know, how we do them. So let's just have a look at the first one. So auctions, okay, is our first one. So you might want to write this down. So let's just talk about auctions for a second. So people are telling me, they've always told me this actually, that auction prices are too high, and currently in the market, the auction prices are going through the roof because the market's overheated. There's a lot of bounce back money out there. There's a lot of loans out there. There's a lot of money been sitting pent up demand through COVID, isn't there? Loads of investors are going to auctions, and the auction prices are too high. Now, we as a business have purchased some of our best deals at auction. So here's just what I do. So you might want to write this down. This is a little niche and a strategy all by itself. So you want to register for an auction catalogue, and you might think, oh, well, that's a bit boring. So register for auction catalogues. Try and go, obviously at the minute with COVID, it's not easy to go in person. A lot of it's got to be done online. But the reason for the auction catalogue is this: you normally get it about 4 weeks before the auction. Have a look through it, and that then will tell you if there's anything that you're interested in. And then what I like to do is I like to then have a look at the properties, and because we're maybe 3 or 4 weeks away from the auction, I'll put in some pre-auction cheeky offers. So I normally talk to the agent and I say, look, is there any way that you know, the vendor would consider this price? So I've got the cash, I can show you proof of funds, and then what happens is the auctions locally get to know you, and you get to know the auctioneers as well. So that works quite well. So we've bought 3 properties fairly recently from auctions where the auctioneers kind of given us a steer. Now, before I talk about this specific deal, you'll see at the bottom there I've put join EIG group. Now, write this down as well, because this is another fantastic tip. So strategy 1, although it's auctions, registering for the auction catalogue. So what you're doing is you're going along to look at all the auction properties pre-auction, and you're putting in pre-auction offers for these properties. Now, you might get told, no way, I won't accept that. Now, what then happens is if you get it pre-auction, then you have, you know, you're not getting into a bidding war with anyone in an auction room in the day. So that's kind of strategy number 1. Then if you put in the offer pre-auction and it doesn't sell, then you're going back post-auction. and you're going back in, and then you're saying, well, can we go back to look at the kind of pre-auction offer? Now, what I like to do is go in and put in some pre-auction offers, all right? But the strength of joining the EIG group, so at the minute, they cover all the national auction houses. So there is a membership fee to join EIG every year. And the benefit of being in EIG, so let's assume at the minute that I live in Southend and Sea. So I think Steve and Sarah, they live in Southend as well. So let's say that they were looking for a property in and around Southend, but let's say the owner of that property lived in Glasgow, up in Scotland. And let's say they died up in Glasgow and their family decided to run the property in Southend through a Glasgow auction. You wouldn't know about it. So that's kind of tip number 3 that's in the auction. So what we find is we've had an EIG alert, it's called. So what you do when you join EIG, you get alerts set up for every area that you want to go in. So let's say there's a property for sale in the next street to you, but the guy that owns it lives in the Highlands of Scotland and he's putting it to auction in a Highland auction in Scotland. How are you going to know about it? The answer is you aren't, but you're going to know about it if you're in EIG. So we've had auction alerts from all over the country. And then what happens is you're not competing with such a captive audience because not everyone's going to be willing to travel. So when pre-COVID, you had to travel to the auction house or you could telephone bid. At the minute, all the auctions are online. So I've actually registered, I've registered for a couple of auctions that are coming up, and I've got my eye on a couple of things, and I've followed the model. So I've had the EIG alerts, I've booked in the viewings. I'm actually going to see one this Friday. I've registered for the catalogues, and if these properties stack up, then I'll put in an offer on it pre-auction. Then if it doesn't sell, because I've got my limit, if it goes for more, then I've lost it. But if it doesn't sell, of course, I'll put in my post-auction bid. But that auction strategy, the 3 things that I do, tends to work quite well. So what you can do is go to the auction house, show proof of funds, put in an offer, and then just sit back and wait. Now, next year, in January to March, which is going to be first quarter, so Q1, Q2 next year, there might be a glut of properties coming onto the market, and auction houses will be full. And this might be the chance to implement this little auction strategy I'm talking about. So for those of you that live in the southeast, you'll probably know about Hare and Son. That lovely lady there is my sister Lindsay. So she's our operations manager, and this was the house. So this house here, so that's a 5-bed HMO, and it was lot number 11. We went and viewed it pre-auction. We got an EIG alert. We also got the Hare and Son catalogue. We went and put in a cheeky offer. The guy never accepted it, and he wanted to run it through the auction. This was in December. So it was just when Boris Johnson was kind of about to get elected as Prime Minister, and there was a bit of uncertainty as to which party. Would it be Tories? Would it be Labour that they were getting in? So there was a bit of uncertainty. So I spoke to the auctioneer and he said, Ian, don't bother putting in a cheeky offer, just wait. He goes, I don't think it will sell because we've hardly had any viewings. It's been empty. And if you go to the auction, he goes, I reckon you'll be the only one bidding on it. So of course we were 1 or 2 people bidding on it, and we actually got it for 10 grand less than guide. And I've done this quite a few times recently, and I've had a fair bit of success from it. So you might want to think now, can I implement an auction strategy into my business? Myself and my business partner sat down 2 years ago and we brainstormed 20 strategies that we could get properties. How could we get properties? So there's an auction strategy. What would you do? Write a process. How are you going to do it? So that's just one of the things that I do. I've not got time tonight to go into the whole 20, but we're going to run through 6 of the best, so don't worry. So for the numbers, people, I know you're dying to see the numbers. Okay, Ian, so what did it cost? So it cost us 210,000. Excuse me, just taking a drink of water. We spent 20k on it in a refurb. We asked for a revaluation of 280 and it came back in at 265, and the valuer was saying, it's just due to COVID. But we weren't too disappointed. We did expect it, to be honest. And the cash left in the deal was 31,000. The cash flow was £1,800 a month. And the return on the capital employed. So remember, at the minute, I love this figure. I don't worry about yield too much. I just think at the minute, you're probably sitting tonight getting 0.01% interest in your bank. And if you park it in a property, in an HMO, cash flow and asset such as this, you're getting a huge return. So a return on capital employed, and a lot of people think you get numbers like this up north. This surprised Wendy when her and I started working together last year, at the early part of last year, because she was saying, I don't know how you get so good numbers. And the secret to getting the good numbers is to understand the marketing. When do you make the money? You make the money when you buy, don't you? So we've made the money when we buy. So in the chat panel, would you consider that to be a good deal? Would you park 31k for a 69% return in an HMO at Southend, bought at auction? Answers in the chat panel, please, if you think that is a good deal. 100%, yes, cool, right, brilliant. Okay, Tim, nice to see you as well. So that is the kind of deals that are out there, and at the minute, people are saying to me, Ian, the market's overheated, there's no deals out there. I'm telling you, these deals are out there, and if you follow the auction steps that I've just talked to you about, then these can work. In fact, when I'm on the auction, the online auction site at auction, when I'm going to try and buy these 2 houses, I'm thinking of doing a kind of live stream into the group, and we can see, just how it goes. So thanks for the positive feedback. Glad to think that you all like the deal. We love it. I mean, if we'd have got 280 for it, we'd have left even less in it. So to leave 31k in a deal to get that sort of return is phenomenal. So you won't recognise this chap here. I've done my best to disguise myself, but strategy number 2 is banners and Bandit boards, all right? So excuse the rear end photo. So Oliver's saying, explain roast, please. And Rahel's saying 1,800 net or gross. It is net, but I'll answer all the questions at the end. Let's stick to the Q&A. So whoops, let me go back. Excuse my rear end photograph there, but this is actually a picture of myself walking the walk, not just talking the talk. Okay, so putting up banners. Now, when I started my property education back in 2011, this was one of the things that I went to at a property seminar, and I was actually blown away by the simplicity of this. And a lot of people say that they'll do it, and of course they don't. And they think, well, these things, do they actually work? So what we're doing at the minute, we've identified 3 or 4 separate areas. In these areas, we put up around 20 of these every month. So a couple of caveats here. They will get taken down. You need planning permission actually to put up signage around the southeast of the country. And guess what? You're unlikely to get it. So that sign, the yellow and black sign that's above, he's probably not got planning for keeping his sign there. So what happens is the council will drive down around the town, and after about a month, your banners will get taken down. So what do I mean by matching them to your leaflets? So what you want to do is, it's all about the subliminal marketing message. So it's about your brand. Now, yellow and black is not the most sexiest look in the world, but when a leaflet comes through your door that looks the same as your banner, then it just helps them to make that. So loads of people have said, oh, I saw your banner when I was driving, and then I got your leaflet through as well. So it really does help to keep them simple and keep it together. And the amount of people that get that wrong, you would be surprised about. Now, I'll put some numbers on, what it costs to put up a banner. I think it's important to just go back to the auction strategy for a second and think of the actual cost of that. So that marketing, if you like, to join EIG group is around £300 to £500 a year, right? Which doesn't work out at a lot per month, but you don't need to join it if you just wanted to stay local and go to your local auction houses. And if you go register for an auction catalogue, then that's free. These banners roughly cost about £3. If you put them up yourself, obviously it's only your time that you're expending doing it. But if you don't put them up and you pay someone else to do it, then £8 to £10 an hour can get someone to put them up for a whole day. And you'll be surprised again when the leads start coming in. So the best thing to do as well is to set up a call answer service. So you can have a landline, you can have a mobile number, it's up to you. We find that landline numbers tend to work best because people think that they're calling a bona fide company. Now, this was something that I used to buy off eBay until I got the actual banners, but that is really effectively what you want to put up. That is your message. So we will buy your house today, cash, call us right now, fast sale, something like that, although it seems cheesy and you might sit there scoffing and thinking, does this actually work? Well, let me tell you, it does work, and it's an awesome strategy. So don't be scared, of doing it. And that married with some leaflets as well, harnessed together, is like mega, mega powerful. So let's just talk about the bits and pieces that you'll need to kind of put this strategy together. So I've put some of the companies that we use on there. So we've got Soho 66, and you can choose a landline number. So the dialing code, or the area code, sorry, not the dialing code, the area code for Southend is prefixed by 01702. So you would be putting that into, your local area, and then you get a number, and that can divert to, one, it can divert to a mobile, or two, you can employ answer.co.uk. I'm just using these for an example. They'll pick up your calls for £1. Now, this was last year. We had Answer on board, so I don't know what the charge now. It might be 125, 150. But there's no contract or anything with them. So let's imagine that someone's driving along, they see your banner, they take your number down, they call up, you're at your work, and they phone an Answer picks it up with a little script that you can give them. Answer capture the details, and Answer will then email and text you the number. And then later on that night, what have you got? You've got a qualified lead, haven't you? You've got a hot lead, someone wants to talk to you. So if you're a little bit scared initially of going on to the telephone from a straight cold call when somebody says, I saw your banner, how much are you going to give me for my house? And you think, and you feel a little bit apprehensive. When you phone up Answer, someone's going to obviously take that, someone's going to have a script and say, look, Ian's out the office at the minute, can I take some details and I'll get me call you back later? And then you get an email. So we've got Simply 66 here. They're £30 a month. They'll text and email you as well. So they all look the same, but really Soho 66 is you renting a landline number for around £7 a month. And then you can employ Answer to pick up your calls. for around about £1 a month, £1 a call, sorry. Then we've got Simply 66. It actually does what both of these companies do, and they'll supply the number and they'll do the answer service as well, and they will also text and email you. Their basic package is £30 a month. They're based in the northeast of the country, Simply 66. We use them ourselves at the minute, and they're absolutely excellent. So what they actually do as well, which I really like, when they capture a call, the call's recorded. So when they email you, so if someone calls up to ask, say that they saw your banner, then you can listen back to the call as well. So it's really, really good. So from a kind of quality point of view, you can really understand, one, how your call answering service is performing, and two, you can understand the needs of your customer as well. So that is just a little tip to put a little barrier in between yourself and the client initially when they make that first port of call. Now, you'll laugh at this when I tell you this, but because I'm Scottish and I'm from Glasgow and I've got all my hair shaved off, and I'm 6'3" as well, the lady that I work with says, look, you can't go onto any telephone calls. I don't want people here thinking that they've called a call centre in Glasgow. So at the minute, we tend to find that if we can get females to answer the telephone with a nice accent rather than a hard as nails Glasgow accent. But of course, if you live in Glasgow and you're on the call tonight, then it won't matter, because when you're in Scotland, a Scottish accent's a Scottish accent. But a little tip, if you live in the southeast, it's probably not good. It does do me well having the Scottish accent when people say, oh, it's a Scottish guy, but doing the calls isn't necessarily the best thing. So I like to kind of outsource that. So you might want to consider that yourself. So let's just talk about the numbers and the banner boards. So banners, sorry, or bandit boards. So 20 banners will cost you around £242. Now, there's a company in Southend that do them called aquabluedesign.co.uk, but you can get banners anywhere. Most sign writers, printers will make these up for you, or you can go onto eBay. I dare say you've all heard of eBay, and what we do is we order 100 A3. These are called Corex boards. It says core board there, but it should say Corex. So they're 420mm by 297mm a sheet, and it's just like a little estate agent's board, and you'll need cable ties and a thick marker. So if you want to do them yourself and put them up, then great. But if you want to get someone else to do it, then I'm going to tell you how to do that as well. So in the chat panel, please. I know I said questions and answers at the end, but so far, are you finding this useful? Has this been good, or is this a load of old rubbish? You've seen it all before. And Ian, let's get into the good stuff. So you can tell me, come on, I won't be offended. How's it going? What are we thinking? This is great. Good. Thanks, Sarah. Really useful. Going well. Thank you, David. So I recognise some of the names here. Marlon saying she's happy to learn more about auctions. I love auctions, Marlon. There's a few good ones coming up. Great tips, very useful, says Michael. Great, love to see the details, said Tim. Perfect. Tim's wanting to come to Southend one day soon, I can tell. But yeah, well, let's go into it then and keep these big truth bombs coming out in the market. And so what I like to say to people as well, what business are we in? So are we in, what do you think right now business are we in? Are we in the property business, do you think? Or are we in the marketing business? Julian saying the marketing business, good. So always remember this, team, that we are not in the property business yet. We're in the marketing business. No business can survive without marketing. So we need to be marketing all the time. Pete's saying the live would be good from the auction bidding. I'm sure we can set that up, Pete. No problem at all. Right, okay, let's get into something next. So finding help to do it. So if you wanted to post a job in a part-time section, you can pay someone around £30 to put out 20 banners or boards for you. And to make it more attractive, because it's not the greatest of pay, is it? But to make it more attractive, how you can incentivise your banner putter-upper is to pay a bonus in any deal you close. We find £250 to £500 is around about the kind of norm to pay. And it just, if you get someone that's reliable, because remember, you're going to be putting these up every single month. We can't just put one batch up and then stop it. You've got to just keep doing it. It's consistency. Got to keep the consistency up. Here's a little script that I made up. So if you want to take a picture of that, you could put that on Gumtree, buy and sell groups. Where else works quite well? Facebook Marketplace. So you're looking to make some easy money. I need a handyman to put signs up. What do I need you to do? You must have a car. And I normally put between 20 and 30 signs up. And if you take photos of your work, well, I'll need to delve into that a little bit. What I normally do, I've got a WhatsApp group. It's called a banner group. And for every banner that they put up, they take a photograph. I've already went round the area looking at the locations that I want the banners put up. And then what I do is I put Google Maps. So I would select Google Maps, and where I'm standing, I'll take a screenshot. And then I take a photograph of where I want the banner fixed to. And then I put them onto a spreadsheet. So let's say we pick 10 locations. So I've got 10 map locations, 10 photos of where I want the banner fixed to. And then I put that into the WhatsApp group. And then once your fixer-upper drives round, or your handyman, then all they do is take a photograph of the WhatsApp group, put it in the WhatsApp group, and then you've got a time and a date that it's been done, and that's how we manage the kind of banner strategy. So again, remember, team, we're in the marketing business. We sit down, we have a meeting, we brainstorm, we say, what is the strategies that are working for us? Okay, we've got the auction strategy, we process that. Okay, we've got the banner strategy, we process that. How much banners are we putting up? How many leads are we getting? How much are we spending in banners? How many leads have we got coming in? What converted leads are we getting coming into the business? So again, you've got to be testing and measuring all the time. All right. So that little script, take a photo of that, put it up in Gumtree. You can hire someone fairly easily, and you want someone that's going to be reliable and turn up. Always want to check and drive round when you employ someone new. Okay. So you've already heard me talking and mentioning earlier about leaflets, all right? So we're about halfway through now. So leaflets as well, absolutely fantastic strategy. You can blanket drop in a lot of different areas, and guess what? When you blanket drop, you don't get a massive response rate. So what I normally do is pick an area around 4,000 houses. I like to walk it myself, and the reason for that is simple. Is because I can time myself, and I like to go out. Now, you might be thinking, God, I don't want to go out delivering leaflets here. But there's a bit of method in the madness, because you get to learn your patch. You can work out how long it takes you yourself. You've walked it yourself. So if you do hire a dropper to do it, then you know that if they say, oh, I only get X number of leaflets done, well, you know there's been an issue there because you've already done it yourself. So the reasons for doing it yourself initially before you employ a dropper will become clear in a minute, okay? But consistently, you want to be leafleting every 4 to 6 weeks and to the same 4,000 houses. So what's actually happening is it's consistency. People are seeing your brand. Remember, they're driving round and they're seeing your banner, and then they're getting a leaflet through the door and they're thinking, that's that banner I saw. They're sitting it up on their sideboard. That leaflet can lie there in someone's house for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years before someone calls you. So the trick is is not to give up. And if you go blanket and you do, I mean, we started off doing about 50,000, then it was 80,000, and now it's hundreds of thousands of houses. We leaflet every single month, and that can turn into an expensive way of doing it when you start getting scale. But when we start to make money, we re-employ it back into the business, because we've got a marketing budget. You want to be spending around 10% of your turnover on marketing every month. All right. So leaflet marketing, great little strategy, but you've got to niche it down. Now, Paul Clark Print, there's loads of printers across the UK. So again, I'm just giving you the one that we use. They're based in the north of Essex. 50,000 leaflets. We always go for double-sided. Costs around £480. Droppers, now that's a leaflet dropper that you'll employ. They'll cost around £35 to £45 per 1,000 leaflets. And a dropper, one dropper can deliver about 1,000 leaflets a day. So the streets that I walked initially, I had a GPS tracker on me. So you can get these on Amazon. They're £120. You want to put it into the dropper's bag. And then when the dropper, so you go out with the tracker yourself and it works out your route. It tells you your walking speed and how long it took you. And you'll get home and they'll think, right, it took me 4 hours and I delivered 1,000 leaflets, or that took me 6 hours, or that took me 8 hours. So if you then look at your dropper's GPS tracker and you see that they've been out for 2 hours and they say they've done all your leaflets, then they're either a marathon runner and they were in the top 5 marathon runners in the country, but most likely they've ditched your leaflets and they're just trying to get paid. So we find that mums that, you know, are working in between school hours, they're really, really good to employ as droppers. So again, buy to sell groups, put an ad on there looking for leaflets to get delivered. You're going to have to invest a little bit of money in it to make it work, but the numbers speak for themselves. What has happened here? I've pressed Paul Clark Printing. Apologies, and I've lost the presentation now. Great.
Okay, so while we're waiting for Ian to back to the station. It's okay. Okay, so I think what we should do is use this moment, very useful moment actually, Ian, I bet you planned this deliberately, to put in the chat panel one thing that you have taken away from the evening's training so far. So what is one thing that you are going to take away from this evening's training? It might be something you need to learn more about. It might be something you ought to take immediate action on. It might be something which you just has kind of piqued your interest and you're thinking, oh, I never thought about that before. So can you just put something in the chat panel right now and let us know what was that one thing that you're going to follow up from tonight's webinar. Okay, so James says marketing techniques to act on. Brilliant, that's great, James, love it. Sarah says get her banner designed for her investment area. I mean, it's so simple, isn't it? When Ian told me about this banner, I just thought, wow, this is so incredibly simple. Why are we not doing this? Because it's such powerful stuff. Marilyn has also said banner. She's going to do the banner. Gemma, replacing banners regularly. Yes, accepted the council will take them down. We just have to accept that. Rihanna has said 10% of revenue towards marketing. Banners are effective. Absolutely. Lovely to have you on, Rihanna. Right, I think we are back in the room. Would I be right in saying so, Mr. McBain?
Yes, we are. Apologies about that. I was just so excited, Wendy, about going to share the numbers.
Well, you know, they say teamwork makes the dream work. So.
Exactly. So thank you, partner, for helping me out on that one. So let's just have a look at the numbers. So where we were talking about was what an actual leaflet can bring you in. So there's the same property. And I know when you saw it in the first picture, you were thinking, oh, that looks like a rundown affair. Well, that's one of my best performing 5-bed HMOs in Southend. That's the net cash flow now from that property. So a leafleting strategy. We got this house from a leaflet from an investor who ran this as an LHA, so Local Housing Authority HMO. He ran this himself for 24 years, and he wanted to sell up and he wanted to go to Mallorca and spend his retirement with his family. And we've obviously taken the property on, given it a makeover, and now it's solidly producing £18,000 a year. So would you do a few of them if you thought that banners and leaflets and auction strategies could get you that? So this is the game that we're in. We're in the marketing business, and that then helps us to fuel our property business, doesn't it? So let's get the pens at the ready for direct mail targeted. So the leaflets were actually untargeted, and we were kind of blanketing a few areas, all right? But the targeted part, leaflets can work, but you can waste a lot of money. But the targeted part tends to work a lot better. It's a lot cheaper, and of course, it's a lot more targeted. So hence the rule, send out direct mail. So direct mail is the opposite to random leaflets. Get a targeted message to send to a qualified audience. So in essence, I think that we're speaking directly to that person. So what do you think the response rate is like on untargeted? So likes of leaflets, what's the typical response rate, do you think, from a leaflet in the chat panel? Untargeted. Let's just get people's views on this. 1 to 2%. Michael, you've seen me talking about this before. So yeah, David and Michael are right. It's 1 to 2%, and David 1%. Yeah, is right. Rahel's saying 10%. Now, actually, the targeted stuff is a bit higher. So I like to work in the targeted stuff. Now, Robert's saying they're really that low. Now, nowadays we're getting bombarded, aren't we, with marketing messages? So we've got notifications and apps going off on our phone, emails. Everyone's vying for our attention. And when you think that that's quite a low return, what happens is consistency gets you more returns. And the returns, when you get a return, are really high. So think about this. Oh, you might only get a 1 to 2% rate of responses, but to make 18 grand a year, hands off for life, it's worth it. So you've just got to stick to the game and keep in there and keep marketing. So thanks for the, thanks for everyone's engagement. It does help when you're doing a presentation to think that everyone's still with us and enjoying the content. So let's go through what we do in targeting. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is only because this is where I live and this is what I do. And you can replicate this anywhere in the country. So I'm just going to walk you through now exactly what I do on a targeted level, okay? So if we look at the words houses in multiple occupation, which is HMOs, we drop down to the first line, which is the HMO license register in Southend, okay? So we want to be clicking that button. I'm walking you through exactly what we do. So it's easy. And then you can see I've selected it and it says download it now. So you download the license register, all right? And it will come up like this. So where do you think then we actually start to market to? Where do we target? Where do we start to send that to? Do we send it to the property address on the left, which is the address of the HMO, or do we send it to the license holder on the right? Where do you think we send the letters to? Marlon, yes, the license holder, good. Right, you're all with me, which is fantastic. So you're still with me, which is great. So yeah, we always send it to the license holder. Now, you can do both. What I used to do if I was driving past one, I would just put a leaflet through the door anyway. So if you're not from the area, of course you want to leverage the the Royal Mail here. But if you're driving around your patch and you know there's an HMO there, then of course you might want to put it in addressed to the landlord. Now what you can do, when you've made up your letter template and you get the addresses, you can use stamp, so it's STANNP, MMP, sorry, and you can give them your letters, postcards, and they'll do the whole lot, post it with the stamp. You can send it to them, and then that's it outsourced and it gets put out every month. I mean, you quite often see people in property groups putting coloured envelopes into the post box. Again, it can work. In fact, I was speaking to someone 2 weeks ago that put out 200 letters to HMO landlords in a village in Essex. Excuse me, and he got 5 viewings from it. So it can work. Michael, we were talking earlier about what we would do. And when I meet you this week, we'll be talking about doing this. This is one of the strategies that I'm going to get you to employ. So below is a list of motivated seller leads. So just to firm up on that, so get a direct mail letter direct to HMO landlords. Because we're in the HMO space, we want to be going after HMO landlords. So we're going to download the register. We've got the letter made up. We're going to download it, send it to the license holder, use stamp to send them out for us. Job done. Okay, so below is a list of motivated seller candidates that you can mail to right now. So we've got probates, negative equity leads, high equity leads, owners of vacant property, people in bankruptcy credit. I mean, the list is endless why someone would sell a property, but you can actually target these people, and I'm going to be touching on that in a second. So let's talk about number 5 now. All right. So we've had auctions, we've had leaflets, we've had direct marketing, we've had indirect marketing, and now we're going to be talking about text marketing. So this is great for rent to rent. So it's not just always about buying properties. All right. So we can scrape Gumtree. Now, what do I mean by scraping Gumtree? So it's setting up an account in Gumtree, looking at the properties that would fit the property that would work for you as an HMO. So you've got to register an account with Gumtree first. Once you've got that account, we look at all the houses that are listed in your target area. Then, of course, it gives you the telephone numbers of the landlords, because they are not using an agent. They're going on there and they want to, go direct, if you like. What I then do, I've made up a text message that I send out to the landlords. And I know this sounds really cliched, and it's just like 3 lines of text, but it's that simple. It's picking up a call and arrange a viewing. So Michael, who's on the line tonight, he's going to be working in Chelmsford. And the last time I sent out text messages in Chelmsford, I sent out 86 texts, and I got 7 replies to that, which is quite high. So the response rate on text messages, does anyone know how many text messages get read? So remember, I was talking about emails there, and we're saying maybe the open rate of the response rate is 1 to 2%. Does anyone know what the response rate in a text message is? So how many text messages get read? Do we know? Answers in the chat panel. 95, Michael. Close, yep. 80%, Rihanna. Any other takers? One more, come on, and then I'll reveal all. Come on, team. We need another one. What do we think? 198, Sarah, yeah, close, yeah. It's about between 95 and 98% open rate. So let's say 97%, so I can be different from all of you, but it's high. So we want to be doing it when it's high. So that's quite a lot, isn't it? That's quite a lot. So here's what I do. I've signed up. There's loads of these bulk text message operators. I use smsbroadcast.co.uk. You can buy text bundles and you get charged per text. So what I normally do is I write out a text saying along the lines of, Hi, saw your property advertised. You interested in a long-term rent, 3 to 5 years, no voids, no bills, no maintenance. We will look after. Interested in a coffee. Send out that guaranteed rent text, and then you can book some viewings or go and meet some vendors. Now, this very text that I sent out, following this exact model that I'm showing you right now, got me this. All right, 5 apartments. Oh, apologies, I've hit the thing again. So hold on. There we go. He's sussed it. I'm just getting too excited, people. That's what it is. I love showing these little deals off that we get. So here we go. So there you go. A block of 5 apartments in Southend, all with a sea view. And that all came, ladies and gents, from just a simple text message and just thinking outside the box. So that just shows you what you can do when you look on OpenRent, Zoopla, Gumtree. There's loads of different places where people are advertising and they don't want to kind of deal with an agent, and you can go direct to a vendor, which I find is brilliant. So do you think they look nice? Picking them up with a text message, will you be happy with that? So before we go on any further, I know I've been talking tonight about 4 or 5 different strategies that I employ, but what we've also got in our toolkit that Wendy and myself use is our killer HMO starter pack. So without further ado, could I ask my glamorous assistant to actually show what's in a killer HMO starter pack? Wendy, have you got one ready that we could show our audience tonight?
Now, Ian, you won't believe this, but I too have had some technical challenges.
It's okay. I can keep talking.
My video is not working. So
right,
I'll
okay.
start my video. But I am not... Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can hear you fine.
Yes, that's brilliant. For some reason, when I press the start video, it's not working. So if you would like to, shall I describe what's in the pack? And then if I can get my video working, I'll show you one, because we've got one here.
Do that, yeah, no problem. Go for it.
Okay, so let me tell you about the HMO starter pack, the killer HMO starter pack. So Ian and I put this together over about a year's time scale. We've put together all our intellectual property that both of us have created for creating high cash flowing HMO portfolio businesses. So in the HMO Killer Starter Pack, you get a fantastic mass of information. You get both of my HMO books. If you haven't already had them, you'll get both copies in paperback format. You will get an HMO Killer Starter Pack brochure. Now that brochure is designed to help you understand what's in the other item, which is the smallest item in the pack, but is like PowerPoint on steroids. In fact, it's more than just PowerPoint on steroids, because it also has a huge amount of documentation that will help you to start, to scale, and to systemize your HMO business. And in a minute, I'm going to go through exactly what is on that tiny little USB stick, because that's what it is. So you get a beautiful bag, 2 books, an HMO Killer Starter Pack brochure. You get a copy of the latest HMO magazine. You even get an HMO Success pen, which is worth a lot in itself. But what's really valuable about this particular pack is it literally allows you to plug and play everything that we have created over the last year or so, and for many moons before that. So you can get started in HMOs. So Ian, do you want to go on to the next slide, and I can describe what's actually in the pack. Now I know why I can't show my video, because
I'm seeing screen sharing. Just kick me off, Wendy. It's fine.
If you could share your hosting with me, Ian, then I can get a start pack. So all you need to do, Ian, is on your hosting tab. If you can just change host to me, and then I can send you.
Okay.
Perfect. Right, let's see that that's worked. Yes, back in the room. Love it. Okay, so I can actually reveal to you what is in the Killer Starter Pack. So this is what you get. You'll get this in the post. let me take my background off because you can't see it.
Yeah, we can't see it when you come up too close, Wendy.
Absolutely. So let's take the background off so you can see my study. So this is the bag that you get, and inside the bag you get a copy of each of my books, each of the paperback books, just behind me here on the shelf. 101 Essential Tips, which is this one here. That was the very first book I ever wrote about HMOs, and so inspired was I that I went further and wrote this one, Extraordinary Profits from Ordinary Properties, which tells you the whole 5-step system that we teach on our 2-day event and also on our 12-month mentoring program. So I spoke to you about the power pack in here. So you get a very comprehensive brochure, and this is our HMO Killer Starter Pack, and this has huge amounts of information here about how to add value to HMOs, how to choose a great HMO letting agent, how to rent out your properties, and how to run a refurb project. But this is the killer item. So this is an 8 gigabyte USB stick. Not only do we have documentation on there, we also have video tools. So this explains how to use some of the spreadsheets. We've worked long and hard to create this. We've worked long and hard to create these tools, and these are tools that we use today in our own business. So this pack, normally we retail this at about $697. But Ian has got a very special offer to tell you all about tonight.
Perfect. So can you make me host now, and I shall go back into, oh, hold on. I'm the host now. Okay, so I have the power again. Perfect. So thanks for that, Wendy. So the Killer HMO Starter Pack, the great thing about the deal analysis and the sourcing tools, they're all in there. So if you're ready to get started in this business, then that is something that you need. But the pack is massive value. Everything that you need to get going is great. And of course, that retails at $497 plus VAT. So if you're interested in that, we can talk about it at the end of the presentation, all right? So I just wanted to introduce you to Sue Minear. Sue is one of Wendy's and myself's mentees, and I've coached Sue along for over the kind of last 12 months. She's implemented a lot of my sourcing techniques, and we actually viewed 13 houses off the back of this in one day. We made quite a lot of offers, and as a result of the work that we did up until getting the properties over the line, she's actually got 3 HMOs now. So in 12 months of working with myself and Wendy, she's eclipsed what she used to earn in the corporate world. So it just shows you, remember, we're marketing first, then we're into the properties, and then we get the cash flow. So 3-step system. All right, so that's Sue, the lovely Sue. And this is me outside another one of my properties in Southend, and it was great to visit Ian's patch and see how he'd built his property business. His marketing methods were so simple, said Charmaine, but so powerful. And honestly, this isn't rocket science. Simplicity is the best in this, and it's just all the simple methods that I learned that I still employ today. She's now developing a 6-bed HMO, which brings in over £1,100 a month net income as a result. So that is the kind of things that we can do, ladies and gents, from our marketing endeavours, which fuel our property business. Okay, so number 6 is marketplace. So we're going to be talking about Facebook now. So what I like to do is put a free advert in the properties wanted section. Now, what I mean by that is something along the lines of a quick sale advert where, properties wanted, we can complete quickly, sell your house fast. You can put that up. I also put up a guaranteed rent advert looking to rent properties in certain areas for 3 to 5 years. As well as that, lots of landlords on marketplace are looking for to rent their properties out, and also on there you can send them a direct message and say, would they be interested in a long-term let, or would they be interested in renting it for a while and selling it. So whilst your other half is sitting watching Netflix of an evening, you can be sitting in marketplace and you can be doing some ninja marketing trying to get yourself some deals. Now, we haven't spoken about, because we've only got, we've only got an hour and a half tonight, and I can't squeeze everything into, an hour effectively. So we haven't spoken about sign writing. So sign writing shops and vehicles, again, stuff that I do. Estate agents, where people think, it's a nightmare working with estate agents. Repossession lists, newspaper ads, Facebook and Google ads. So there's Facebook ads and Google ads as well, which all, and again, I could do another webinar on that, but I said tonight I would give you 6 of the best and 6 of the stuff I'm doing. So as an extra bonus, you're going to hate me for this one, but Rightmove alerts. So you're going to be sitting there maybe thinking, Ian, I know this. Well, guess what? The reason I'm reminding you is because it works, and some of our best deals come this way. So what happens in your local area, if you've not got any Rightmove alerts set up, then you're missing out. So when properties sell, then they fall, then they get relisted, then you can pounce. And some of our best deals have came this way. So when a house comes on in your local area and you know it's a great buy, and you think, guess what, that sounds cheap. And then you phone up an agent, get a viewing. So I had a Rightmove alert a few Sundays ago. I looked at it, I thought, that sounds cheap. Sent it to Dad, said, what do you think of that? We phoned up the agent first thing Monday morning, 9:01, and by about 1 o'clock, we'd an offer agreed on it, and it was about 40 grand less than, the kind of market value for properties in that street. And that's just on Rightmove. So I tell quite a lot of people this, and they look at me and think, how can that be true? But it's true, because it's a big marketing engine, isn't it? So you've got to play the game, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to be putting ourselves out there. So all these little things, you've got to set it up, automate it. You don't get deals from just doing one thing. So what I like to do is we employ a 10 by 10 marketing strategy. So let's say you've got 10% Rightmove alerts, you've got 10% brochures, 10% leaflets, 10% banners. Now, if one of those strategies goes down, guess what? You've got 90% to fall back on. If you've got 100% of your business right now in Google AdWords and Google changes an algorithm, guess what? Your business is getting wiped out overnight. So 10 by 10 marketing strategy, always think of that. Do 10 things, set them up well. You've got a consistent flow of leads. So I wanted to just give you a couple of little extra bonuses. There's a website. It's called What Do They Know New in Scotland? What do they know in Scotland but no in England? And you can request any data you want, and this is what you need to do. So go to the website, sign up, it's a free account, make a request, pick the option local councils. For example, Stoke-on-Trent Council. I was speaking to Wendy earlier. She's assured me that there's no opportunities in Stoke-on-Trent. She's got them all sewn up. And you want to go ahead and request the data. And by law and under the Freedom of Information Act, there's a lot of data that you can realise. Here's a little script I've made up how to ask for certain pieces of information. So kind of homeowners, repossession lists. We want to buy houses quickly. Can you supply us with the data? A lot of councils will fob you off, but there's ways and means. You've got to use the persuasive tools to get in there. So what I like to do is rinse and repeat this for other areas that you want to target. And you can target, of course, you'll be stunned at what you can target. So out of town landlords requesting for vacant properties in the area, check them up in land registry, and then you can send them, a leaflet or a letter quick enough. It's that quick. High equity leads now. Why do we want to work in high equity leads? So owners that are coming to the end of their mortgage term. So if they're on interest only and they might not be able to sell or re-extend their mortgage, then they might be in a good position to say, I'll take an offer and just get rid of the house. I find as well, if the mortgage is quite low on a lot of properties, people are more susceptible. If the house needs a lot of work, to taking a kind of lower offer. So there's loads of things that you can do to get into this. And these are just some of the things that I do. But what I would encourage you to do one thing, set it up, do it well. But if you want to have a play about with this and you've taken some photographs of the slides, then do let us know how you got on. Now, I said 6 of the best, and I've saved the best till last. This house on the left here was the sold sign 2 years ago. So it took a little bit longer than we wanted to. And the bottom patch, so there's us excavating the grounds, knocking the wall down, taking the tree out, and you can see that it had a double garage on it. We applied to build a 7-bed HMO, turn this house. It was a 3-bed ex-council house. We wanted to turn it into a 7-bed HMO, and it's now a 6-bed cash flowing powerhouse. And again, guess where I got this from? I got it from a Rightmove alert, would you believe? So again, looking at houses and saying, right, I'll set up alerts in that area. He sold it to us. He sold it to, we offered on it, he knocked it back. And then he sold it to someone else. They fell through. Then he resold it again to someone else. They fell through. Guess what? We got another Rightmove alert. And then the third bite of the cherry, we got it. And this got valued actually a couple of weeks ago. And the value was unbelievable. It was over £500,000 for a 6-bedroom HMO in Southend. So we were really, really pleased with the end outcome. And this is all done by doing simple stuff that I've told you tonight, which you might think, oh, do you know what? But listen, getting something in a Rightmove alert, look at that. You would do that every day of the week, wouldn't you? So you've got to be in it to win it. So I said to you at the very start of the evening that there would be an opportunity to work with myself and Wendy. We cover, obviously tonight, I've not got huge amounts of time to squeeze it all into a 1-hour webinar. We do cover more of my sourcing techniques and how we walk you through some deals on our 2-day intensive course. So Wendy and myself run our flagship 2-day training, and it's 2 days income to change your income and your life. No 2 days income, lifetime income to change your income and your life. So I just wanted to talk to you, if it's okay, for the next couple of minutes about our HMO intensive. So the dates, we've got some spaces for this Saturday and Sunday. So if you want first mover advantage, write these dates down. If you want to join us this weekend and get out the blocks ready for the rush when the glut of properties coming onto the market. So if you want to work with me and me to help you market yourself and your business, then you need to come and join us this weekend. If you can't make these dates, the next 2 dates are the 21st and 22nd of November. Due to COVID right now, it's a 2-day full live streamed event. So it's not pre-recorded. You'll actually be in your living room with Wendy and myself, and we'll be doing games, having fun, doing exercises, looking at floor plans, looking at deals, looking at projects. And the great thing is you get the full recording after the event. So if you want to go back and cover anything off, then of course you can do that. Now, the brochure price at the minute is $997 plus VAT. So if you phone up the office, then that is our office cost. But because due to COVID, at the minute, everything's been slashed, isn't it? So we've decided to slash the cost of our course as well. And we are also offering a free ticket to an in-person event later in the year, but I would doubt that that is going to happen with the way things are going with some lockdowns. So what better to do than to be locked down in your house and learning from 2 experts in the room, and maybe next year we can meet up and do the live event then. We do miss live events, and when they come back, we cannot wait to do them again. We both really miss it, but equally we put as much energy into this, and the fact that it's pre-recorded and you can go back to it as a reference point is fantastic. So tonight, if you want Wendy and myself help you get started in your HMO career, help you get started in your property business, help you get started marketing your property business, we're slashing the cost to a fantastic $497 plus VAT. And for the first 5 people tonight, guess what? Well, you're going to get the killer HMO starter pack absolutely free. My mind's went blank. HMO intensive. The link, that was the word I was looking for. So you might want to copy down the link. So it's bit.ly/ and then it's in capital letters, HMO intensive. Now, if you want to bring a friend or a business partner or a family member, they can come along for half price, all right? And of course, Wendy and myself offer 100% money back guarantee. So if by lunchtime in the first day you're not satisfied, then of course we'll refund you, no questions asked. I wanted to thank you for joining myself and Wendy tonight. I realise it's a wet, miserable night. You've probably been at work today and you think, oh, I need to sit through and listen to another webinar or live training. But we really try and think how best we can serve you and put as much energy in it as we can. So we're doing these deals right now. This is what we do, and we do well. We are not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk. So here's my golden rules for success. This is absolutely key. You must test and measure your results. What's the point in spending money if you don't know it's going to work? So if you send out 4,000 leaflets, how many leads did you get? How many calls did you get? How many viewings did you get? How many of these did you convert into actual deals? You've got to stay consistent, of course. It's consistency is key. Keep yourself accountable. So you might want to get a mentor or a coach or your partner that can help keep you accountable, but following a little course of action over the next 90 days, fantastic. There's always great deals around coming into the winter. So what's your environment like right now? And this affects your results more than anything else. So positive environment. I don't listen to the news, listen to the radio, read newspapers, and like in Ian's world, it's always positive. So if you want to have a good mindset, try and listen to stuff that lifts you up. Listen to Wendy and myself's podcast. That's a good starting point. So remember, we're in the marketing business first. I hope that you've got the message that I'm trying to drive home. Marketing first, and then the deals will come. Don't give up too soon. It's very, very easy to become despondent. You'll put out some marketing material. You might not hear anything, but believe you me, you've just got to maybe have hit a few more touch points, and then the calls will start to come in. Another important point is what gets measured gets done. So if you measure it and you think, well, hold on a minute, we're spending X number of pounds here and we're not getting any results, then take the money and put it towards one of your other better performing strategies. Does that make sense to everyone? So I'm going to leave this link up. This is the HMO intensive again. So the dates, if you want to join us this Saturday and Sunday, it'd be great to see you there, the 17th and 18th of October. And you can see at the bottom there, complete the form and press send. Whoops, let me just put that back. So Wendy, have we got some time for some Q&A? I think we have, haven't we?
Yep, we absolutely have. So people have got questions about what Ian has been talking about. And I know there were some questions earlier on. We'd love to cover them. Just want to really kind of reiterate about the training that we really go into depth about how to find the deals, do your due diligence on the deals, so that you go with some practical tools to be able to actually implement this. Ian and I know from having worked with hundreds of people that people are often a bit reticent to invest in their own education. 497 may seem like, oh, that's quite a lot to invest right now, but I actually believe that the quality of the training is second to none, and you know, we do get really, really excellent feedback from people saying how much they've enjoyed the 2 days, which is brilliant. So with the offer of the killer starter pack as well, you don't want to miss out on that one. And you know, we've got those 2 dates available, and somebody from our team will call you when you have reserved your place. So just to reiterate that this is a really great deal because of everything that's bundled into it. And you know, we don't always offer the killer starter pack, but that's a bonus for this month. Because we want to encourage you to get going and not to sit on your laurels, because we know that this can be done. We know that you can achieve it. And compared to what you can earn just from one HMO, really 497 is nothing. It's a drop in the ocean of what you will get in return by coming on the 2-day training.